Hi, everybody. Today I get to sit down with one of our very own Marian University students, Carmen Zakrajsek. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. I am super excited to learn more about your experience and kind of to live vicariously through you in the next couple of minutes with your study abroad experience. So, can you start by telling us about your decision to study abroad? Like, what led you to want to study abroad, options? How did you figure out what it was you want and where it was you wanted to go and choosing your location?
Yeah, absolutely. So like Brandy said, my name is Mary Carmen. I'm a senior, and right away, basically when I entered high school, I knew that I wanted to study abroad in college. I had seen other students do it through IU, through like a high school program. And I'd always been curious. I love Spanish. I love speaking the Spanish language. I had taken classes ever since elementary school. And I knew that that was going to be my focus when I went into college. And so to actually um, gain more experience and gain like a proficient speaking level, I knew that studying abroad was going to be my biggest asset. And it was going to help me immensely in my career. So I knew right away when I entered even freshman year of college, when I sat down with my academic advisor, we had specifically planned out my junior year to be free. So I took more classes my freshman and sophomore year, and I was willing to do that because I wanted to, again, set aside an academic year to study abroad.
So how did you figure out what program or what country you wanted to go to?
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to do a Spanish speaking country. And so I had to first narrow it down to if I wanted to go to Latin America or Spain. And that was really hard. I was researching a lot. I felt like maybe I would have gotten a more authentic experience if I went to somewhere in South America. I'd already been to El Salvador and Central America. And then I kept thinking about it more. I knew I wanted to travel. And the idea of Spain just sounded so appealing. And I started looking more online, and every photo that I saw of Spain, I was just immediately captivated. And I'd never been to Europe. And so I started looking into programs there. I also had to make a decision if I wanted to go with an exchange school with Marian or if I wanted to go with like a third party program provider. And I chose the third party program and I loved it. It was amazing. I feel so blessed. My program, it's called CEA. I think it stands for Cultural Experiences Abroad. One of the best programs that I could ever recommend to anybody. They are so supportive. Um, I got really close with my program advisors. They include a lot of the excursions up front within the price, so I didn't have to like pay for things out of pocket while I was there for excursions that I went on with the group. They included so many activities and like different cultural activities as well. We did a flamenco class, a belly dance class, um, a cooking class. There were so many things that I learned. So they just were a really, again, supportive group. And I spoke in Spanish with them the whole time. Definitely, they had like the best interest out for the student. So I chose Spain, and I'm really glad that I did. I chose Granada.
Awesome. And then, so can you provide us with some specific information on like some of the academic classes that you took while you were abroad?
Yeah, so with this program, it was called the Spanish Language and Liberal Arts. It was required you take a test when you get there of what level of Spanish you have, and depending on that, you will either be required to take two Spanish classes that focus on grammar and oral speaking, and then the rest can be electives. And depending on your level, you'll either take them in English or in Spanish. And so all of my classes were in Spanish. All the students that I spoke with, I spoke in Spanish. All my professors spoke in Spanish to me. I never spoke English in the classroom. So I took a grammar class and an oral speaking class. I think I tested into level 6 when I got there. Um, and there are 8 or 9 levels. So I tested into like the advanced and or higher intermediate. I forget which one exactly, but I took a Spanish cultural class. So it was, I think it was called history and culture of Spain. And there I learned a lot about like different traditions, the different languages, the different regions that make up Spain. I had no idea how diverse Spain was, and that there are 3 co-official languages. So that was really cool. And then I also took a class titled "The Political System of Spain and the European Union." So I took a total of 4 classes. I'm a political science major as well, in addition to Spanish. So that political science class was so interesting because I learned all about the system of Spain, so different than the United States, and I learned about how different different countries in the European Union interact with one another, the foundation of the European Union. So that class, I had people from Sweden and Thailand and China. So I got to interact with a lot of different types of people, and it was amazing. And then second semester, I took another grammar class and another oral proficiency class. And I took the history and the dictatorship of Francisco Franco. And then I also took, I'm blanking on the last one. I don't know if it was a linguistics or it was some other class in Spanish. I can't remember off the top of my head.
What about any projects or volunteer experiences that you might have done while you were over there?
Yes. So my program, like in the beginning, the first few weeks while we were there, they sat us down and they showed us all the different volunteer opportunities in the city. So I became a English teaching assistant. And so once a week I would go to a I was a primary school, and I would assist in the English classrooms. So that was one of my most memorable experiences, because I got to stand up in front of class and speak in English to these little kids, and they were so fascinated about the United States, about Thanksgiving, about like Christmas traditions, and I really got to like have a cultural exchange with them. I feel like I was able to share about my country and things like values that we have and what young people do and everything. And then they were able to share with me as well more about Spain. So I did that the full year. And then I also did, I volunteered at a elderly residence home program. And so once a week I would meet with this 92-year-old woman. Her name was Encarnacion. And I would sit with her, with this one other girl, and we would just talk for 2 hours. So from 5 to 7, we would go over. She would give us yogurt every time, and she would greet us with a hug and a kiss on both cheeks. And we just got to learn about her life. So that was also for the full year. And when I say the full year, all this is up until March with COVID. But yeah, I poured myself into the city. And then I also sang and played guitar for one of the choirs at one of the nearby Catholic churches. So that opened my doors up to so many Spanish-speaking college-age students. And I sang there once a week on Sundays and then on Wednesday nights for adoration.
Wow, you really made the most of your experience, and that, like, it's so impressive. Because we talk in the career services world, we talk about how those cultural experiences can shape you, and the knowledge and how to articulate this in an interview or on your resume. And so you've got a lot of things there that are really going to set you apart.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah. So what do you think are the benefits of studying abroad?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. There are so many. If somebody is watching this right now and they are thinking of study abroad, do it. Please do it. Let's go right away. So the benefits of international education, huge. Getting to live on your own, you become totally independent, and you learn how to navigate a city. You learn different cultural, aside from traditions, you just learn like different ways of interacting. So like the greetings are totally different, right? Kissing on both cheeks when you meet somebody and then when you leave. You learn really how to adapt and to become flexible. Again, you're living in a new country. Things aren't always going to be as you imagined. There were so many travel plans that I learned how to adapt because I was at the wrong bus station in the same city. There were apparently 3 bus stations. So learning how to just kind of go with the flow. You also just learn a lot of people skills. So again, meeting new people from different countries. And what was cool about that was our only common language was Spanish. So like people from this guy that I met from Thailand or this girl that I met from Sweden, we would speak in Spanish outside of class because their English wasn't as strong. And so definitely learned how to just become more proficient in a language as well. And then also the obvious benefits, I guess, are just the experience. So I lived with a host family my first semester, and just the idea of becoming part of another family, the idea of really making that city your own city. And that's what I wanted to do when I got there. I knew that if I was going to pour the time and the money into studying abroad, I didn't want to go and just speak English the whole time, or, you know, go to a Starbucks or go to a McDonald's. Like I wanted to go because I wanted to really live and set myself apart and gain the full experience. So just pouring yourself into that other country, if it has another language, so beneficial. It really helped my major. So academic wise, I was able to basically complete my Spanish major while I was over there, and then gain a couple of credits for global studies program at Marian, and then also the political science department. So it was wonderful. It was so fruitful, and also just friendships. I made so many friends that I continually talk to in Spanish. And so the idea of having like a network and being more connected around the world were just all appealing to me, attractive, and I cannot stress enough how many benefits of an international education provide one.
So, where do you think that this will help you in your career?
So because of studying abroad, I have applied for a Fulbright grant, which, if you're not familiar with the Fulbright program, they award a certain amount of students grants to go abroad and to teach English and to live in another country for about a year. So I never would have done that if it hadn't been for Spain. I applied to Colombia, but then I'm also applying to another program in Spain that is essentially the same thing. They will pay native English speakers to come and to teach English in the classroom. So that opened up the door for new and exciting opportunities after I graduate. And then also it kind of gave me the idea of wanting to get my master's in interpretation or translation. That was the other course that I took. That was my favorite course. Oh my gosh. It was just Spanish translation and interpretation. And so I really am interested in either being a medical interpreter or in the law, in like a law firm, being an interpreter. So it definitely made me think bigger and to use my language in my career. So I think also the service opportunity of being in the classroom made me realize how much I wanted to do that. I've never taken any education classes, right? I'm not an education major. So getting that like service experience abroad kind of let me taste test it and realize that I really liked it. So I think it opened my eyes into what I can do when I graduate.
Perfect. So if I am a student who is listening and I'm thinking, well, that sounds really cool, like I would really like to do something like that, what would you advise as somebody who has done this be kind of their first step?
Yes, don't wait. Do not wait to write your essays for your scholarship applications. And that's something that I really want to stress. I know so many people who have studied abroad, even people that I met who they didn't apply for scholarships because they just thought they wouldn't get them, or they didn't know what scholarships to apply for. And you are cheating yourself if you don't apply for scholarships. studying abroad is expensive, right? Not only are you paying for your tuition and your room and board, whatever that looks like in your program, but you're also paying just to fly over there, which is super expensive, to fly back. And then also you want to have money in your pocket to go on excursions, to see the places you've dreamed about and read in textbooks. So I started looking at scholarships. I applied through my program's scholarships, but then also I just started Googling and typing in, and I had this resource from the Study Abroad Fair actually that had a whole packet list of scholarships. And the more I applied to, it was time consuming, but the more I got back. So it was actually cheaper for me to study abroad than it was to assist Marian. And so I would recommend, if you have any inkling of studying abroad, start looking into your country that you want to go to, start looking into programs, and then right away start busting out those scholarship essays, because the deadlines are strict. Especially, not only do you have scholarship essays, but you have to get letters of recommendation, you have to upload your transcript, all these different hoops that you kind of have to go through. And so I would just recommend not waiting. If you're thinking about it now and you want to go maybe in the summer or in the fall, or even in the spring, like start writing these essays over winter break. Winter break is the best time to write these, because I remember like being in school right after winter break, I hadn't written the essays, and then I had all my other class homework assignments. And so it just made me so stressed out, and I was staying up so late getting these essays done. So I would just say, don't hesitate, don't wait, and start writing.
Perfect. So thank you so much for your time today and talking with us and sharing your story with us. It's really amazing. And you are a perfect example of everything that we tell students about the reasons for studying abroad and getting that international experience. So thank you so much for talking with us today, and we appreciate you.